believed in things like this, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. I want to tell you guys a little bit about why I got into it and what spurred my interest in it. So I took a flight from Lisbon, Portugal to the JFK airport in New York. A man in the row behind me had a stroke as we were flying over the Atlantic. This plane was one of the ones that had the little television screens on the back of every seat, and obviously we needed to make an emergency landing. We were all super worried for him because being halfway over the Atlantic, you have to go the rest of the way to New York. To show you where the JFK airport is, it's on like the bottom part of New York, and the Lisbon airport is on the bottom part of Portugal. Logically, you would think the fastest and quickest route would be to fly from the bottom of Portugal straight to New York. Everybody on my flight was really upset because the emergency landing landed in Canada at the St. John's airport. As we were all watching it on the back of our seats, we watched a plane. We were right about here, so we watched the plane go like this and then take a sharp turn all the way up to here. And everybody was like losing their stuff because we're like, this guy needs help. Why are we flying even further? So I started researching how this could have logically made sense, and I couldn't find anything that made sense. And I just kept digging and digging and digging, and I'm going to show you what I found. Sorry, it's kind of blurry. This is the best image I could find. This is a flat earth map. So the Lisbon airport would be right about here. St. John's would be right about here. So it made perfect sense that we would fly from there to there, and that this was the first place that we could stop to get this man medical attention. I started to look at different emergency landing flight paths. None of them make sense on the globe model. They all make perfect sense on the flat earth model. This was just the beginning of me getting into this. I've spent 2 to 3 years at this point looking at different information, reading books, listening to podcasts, researching. There's tons of information. I'll give you a couple of my favorite points that really like drove it home for me, but feel free to do your own research. Pilot training manuals, all train manuals, they all say to assume that the earth is flat and not moving. This is one of my favorites. So Werner von Braun, I don't know if I'm saying that right, he's the founder of NASA. All his tombstone says is Psalms 19:1. Heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. So for there to be a firmament, there needs to be a flat plane of existence. You really start looking into NASA. They came out in the mid 1950s. Everybody that was involved with NASA when it started was a Satanist. Satanist's only job on this planet is to get you to believe that there is no God. And the globe model does exactly that because it takes the credit away from a creator. There's a whole bunch of unclassified documents. We have Operation Fishbowl. Remember what a fishbowl looks like, and look at what they were trying to do. They literally were trying to break through the firmament. Operation High Jump, Operation Paperclip, the fact that Buzz Aldrin was approached by somebody asking him to put his hand on a Bible and swear that he landed on the moon, and he responded by literally punching this man in the face. Every single astronaut is a Freemason. Pythagoras, Copernicus, literally anybody who had any influence on the globe Earth model was a Satanist. They were all practicing Freemasons. This belief gets a really bad reputation, and I believe that the Flat Earth Society is weaponized opposition, that they're put there to make people that truly believe in this look like nutcases. We don't believe that you're going to fall off the edge of the Earth. We believe that Antarctica is not a continent at the bottom, but that we're surrounded by an ice wall. And I need you to look into this because there's a lot of information that can prove this. The elites use weaponized opposition to make us appear crazy, and we've been indoctrinated our entire lives to believe that the globe Earth is a thing. There is so much information on this. I would love to start making TikToks on it, but I have a couple strikes on my account already, and I know TikTok does not like that type of thing. I low-key want to start like a podcast. Like nothing that I can do to pressure somebody to believe in what I believe in, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But if you open your mind and look at the objective facts of things, I think you'll be really surprised because I've never seen someone look into flat Earth and not believe it. Usually you don't believe when you're just looking at what the weaponized opposition is putting on the news and stuff like that. But it's really, really hard for me to deny that we live on a flat plane. And I know how crazy that sounds, believe me. If I even inspire one person to look into this and do their own research on anything, even if it's not this topic, I'll be happy. Can we trust the education system? I'm about to blow your mind. So most of us have heard of McGraw-Hill Education. This is the company that produces the majority of textbooks, educational softwares, and generally has monopolized our education system. This company was owned by Robert Maxwell. You're probably like, okay, that's just some guy. No, that's not just some guy. That's Ghislaine Maxwell's father. He also had major ties to the CIA. He was an Israeli spy. A lot of the people that attended this man's funeral were very questionable as well. There were multiple CIA agents, multiple high-ranking government officials, and the entire Clinton family. Not only is Ghislaine Maxwell his daughter, he was really good friends with Mother Teresa. This guy put in overtime to destroy peer-reviewed research. So yeah, everything that's been fed to us through our education system is by a sex trafficking CIA agent, Israeli spy who tried to dismantle peer-reviewed research. This is why I say, do your own research. As always, this is for entertainment purposes only, and these are my opinions. So 3 days ago, I was talking to somebody about how I wanted to start posting more or maybe getting a podcast going about flat earth topics. And I was complaining and saying, I posted this video on TikTok like a little over a month ago. It's sitting at like 150 views. Most of the comments were super negative. And even though I believe it from the bottom of my heart to be true, I didn't really want to face the backlash. My main point in this conversation as to why it was like really getting to me that I was like not sharing what I have come upon in research is because I believe that flat earth is a direct pipeline to God. And I just kept going on and saying, I don't think anybody cares what I have to say about this. I don't really think anybody agrees with me. I don't think anybody's going to believe me. The video that this comment came from was posted over a month ago. So I had this conversation 3 nights ago. The very next day, this video immediately started going viral after like over a month. And a lot of the comments are people asking me to make videos on it or to start the podcast that I was talking about. And as crazy as it sounds, I'm like, is this God like telling me like get this out there? Because that video sat at like no views for like months. And the morning after I had that conversation, it immediately went viral with tons of comments saying, I've believed this for years and nobody believes me, everybody thinks I'm crazy, etc. I just feel like it's a sign. So I'm looking at podcast equipment, but I'm totally with you. Everybody around me thinks that I'm nuts. I've learned to like kind of not care. I think the best thing for us to do is to present the information, but kind of give people the option to stay within their beliefs and kind of just breadcrumb people with tidbits of information. And then over time, hope that they come to a similar conclusion. And if they think we're crazy, we kind of have to let them think that we're crazy. Because speaking from my own experience, when I was on the flip side and I didn't believe in stuff like this, there were 2 people in specific that opened my mind to this. And I always kind of thought of them as like, oh, like I like them, they're nice, but they're crazy. They think that the earth is flat. And I was never like outwardly mean to them or anything like that about it. It was just kind of like my inner monologue, like, okay, like let me keep you at an arm's length. Well, because of their kindness and their patience and their ability to kind of just like put the information out there, but not being mean to me for not believing it, they kind of just like put it out there as in, these are my beliefs, here's why I believe it. I think that specifically was what made me come around to it, because I think a lot of us get so frustrated with like the name calling and everything else, and rightfully so, because it happens to me too, that anybody that like disagrees with us, sometimes we feel the urge to be like, like you don't know what's going on, and we do. And I think that really pushes people away. So I try really hard not to do that, even though things can get extremely frustrating at times. Stay strong in your beliefs and try to ignore the crazy nutcase tinfoil hat comments. I try to do the same. And thank you for the kind comment. I'm really happy to see that a lot of people are more comfortable with like saying, hey, this is what I believe. And I have a lot of friends on TikTok and in real life that now I'm the crazy friend. Like they like me, we're friends, but they're like, yeah, that's not for me. And you kind of just have to let it be like that. I'm sure you've probably learned that by now, but I'm just babbling. And I hope you don't mind that I chose your comment to respond to. I just had a couple things to say regarding this, and I liked this comment, so I chose it. Good question. So this is something that when I first started looking into this, I was also curious about. I don't want to push my personal beliefs on people, but I would like to show you some of the things that make you go,
Well, let's take a look through a telescope.
A lot of us believe, and the Bible seems to point to the stars in the sky being the angels looking down on the firmament. I'm going to show you a clip of somebody looking at a star through their telescope. A lot of the stars look different, but generally this is like what you see, or what I see, I guess, for the most part.
A focus. Still, same pattern.
Here's what a biblically accurate angel looks like. Like, what? I made a collage. So this is what you see through the telescope. This is if you tell AI to make a biblically accurate angel, and then here's somebody's artwork, or maybe that's AI too. I don't know. It's really hard to deny that they look the exact same. I'm going to show you an experiment that was done where they basically spoke into air bubbles and then collapsed them underwater, and you have to see what this looks like.
You look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. It looked like a star in the heavens.
Everything that I look at in my telescope, every single thing in the sky looks like it's light underwater. And biblically, we're covered by a firmament that separates the waters below from the waters above. So my personal belief is that stars are angels, which would be like kind of like a form of energy. And that's why I showed you the video about the star in a jar, because I think words are energy the same way that other things can be energy. And when you collapse a vibe almost, I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but I hope you guys know what I'm trying to get across here. It turns into a star. Also, go down the very, very deep rabbit hole of the organization that tells us about science up there, and you might go loopy. So yeah, these are my personal beliefs. Don't want to force anything on anybody. We're all free to believe what we want, but I just wanted to show you guys. I would take a video through my own telescope, but I don't have like as high tech of a telescope as they do. Like I don't know how they're like recording it, but definitely look into this if you guys are interested. Let me know if you're as mind blown as I was by all of this stuff. This is for entertainment purposes only. These are strictly my own opinions. Here's what I think the planets really are. This comment is from a video I made where I shared my theory that stars are really angels, but now we're going to do the planets with some interesting biblical stuff that links everything together. Let's start by finding out what the word planet is derived from. When I'm wondering something or trying to form a theory, I always start with the meanings of the words because every single one of our words has deep meaning and tells a story. So the word planet means to wander. So I have two theories, and I'm not 100% stuck on either of them, but I'll give you both. So the first one is that maybe they're actually archangels. My logic for this one would be that there were 7 archangels in the Bible and 7 planets outside of Earth. So the problem with theorizing that they are archangels would do away with this definition. The archangels were not known to wander, but the thing that makes me wonder if these might possibly be bad entities is that they're all named after Greek and Roman false gods. Or it could be a classic Freemason switcheroo where maybe these are archangels and bad people here named them after false gods as like a slap in the face to Christianity. So here we have a chart of the planet and the corresponding demons. So notice how Saturn is Zazel, which is Satan. The sun is Sorath. So most of us are not familiar with Sorath, so I'll show you. So Sorath is the one that's associated with the number. Basically, he's worse than Satan. He's like the most powerful one. This is another reason why I believe in geocentrism, because the demon that's associated with the sun is the most powerful one, and we switched to heliocentrism, everything revolving around the sun, like 100 years ago. So Jude 1:13 says, "Their wild waves of the sea, foaming up their shame, wandering stars, for whom the blackness of darkness has been reserved forever." What I take away from this is, number one, it's definitely referencing the waters above, because the wild waves of the sea, foaming up at their shame, wandering stars. So we know that the meaning of the word planet is basically a wandering star. For whom the blackness of darkness has been reserved forever. I personally definitely think that it's more likely that they're some kind of bad entity. I also wanted to throw in a weird coincidence that I ran into when I was initially researching this. So according to the book of Enoch, 200 angels fell from heaven. And I started to think, where did they fall? Oh yeah, Earth. So then I looked up how many craters we have on Earth. Guys, there are no coincidences, and if there are not as many as you can pull from topics like this one. I'm not completely married to a specific idea because I'm not really sure myself. It's really tough to find information about this. Nobody really talks about it, and there's not too much that I can like look through to get a better idea. But I personally believe it's got to be one or some mixture of the things I just mentioned. What do you guys think though? Let me know. Let me know if there's anything I missed that would help me piece this together a little bit. And as always, this is for entertainment purposes only, and these are strictly my opinions. Once you see that this is obviously CGI, you can't unsee it. I'm not at all trying to be condescending or anything like that, but I mean, this is a 2012 picture, and it's like they're playing in our face. We have movies with better CGI. Like Interstellar is more believable than this, or any of the pictures that you look up. This is for entertainment purposes only, and these are strictly my opinions. Guys, you will never believe this about Admiral Byrd. So I had a couple people asking me if I would make a video on Admiral Byrd and Antarctica and like what he wrote that he found. So as I'm researching and double checking to make sure I'm not like saying things that aren't true, guys, he was a Freemason. He was a Freemason. I never caught this before. Not only was he a 33rd degree Freemason, but he was also like buddy-buddy with multiple presidents. It's like, where does it end? What hasn't Freemasonry and Satanism touched in this society? Like, it really proves that so many things are truly weaponized opposition. This is for entertainment purposes only. These are strictly my opinions. Okay, so I totally get it, but I'm guessing that if you watched a rocket launch, it did one of two things. It either went straight up and curved, NASA's explanation as to why rockets do this type of curve is that they follow an entire circle around the Earth to gain momentum and then like blast off. So they do a circle and blast off. So I want you to try to think of how much fuel it takes to get an airplane somewhere. So airplanes need to be refueled like every couple thousand miles. Rockets are slightly bigger, I understand that. But just think about what they're telling you. And then I want you to think about the fact that the ones that curve are all launched from Florida. And then I want you to think about the fact that all of the ones that are launched that curve are launched from the same area of Florida. Coincidentally, around the area of the Bermuda Triangle is where a lot of people see what they think to be rockets falling out of the sky. So if not that, then you've probably seen this. So NASA will tell you that that's some kind of like chemical reaction. Look with your own eyes and put the trust in your own senses. That is water. They are breaking through the firmament.
Although we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it. And it may be hard to see tonight, but we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now. I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now. After all, when there are no ceilings, the sky's the limit.
And the reason you'd hear space stories corroborated is because every single person in history that tried to come out against NASA or sue them or disprove them as far as like they worked directly with them or they were supposed to be an astronaut on a ship, right before the information went public, those people all just had health issues and disappeared. So if you don't corroborate the space story, you literally get gone. And I just want to make it clear, I'm not trying to like bamboozle anybody or anything like that. I'm genuinely like, I don't make any money off of these videos or anything like that. I just really want to spread the truth because I think that we as people deserve to know the truth. And I just want people to start trusting their own senses and like what's in their own head, because I know we all have it in us. We've just been trained to look to somebody else for the answers. This is for entertainment purposes only, and these are strictly my opinions.